Welcome to the December 1st edition of Newswatch, our last show of this fall semester. In our top stories tonight, Iowa State Police are still investigating a threat made in reference to the Ohio State stabbings earlier this week.
The Iowa State and Ames community will kick off the annual Winterfest tomorrow. We also have a special feature on the Arab Student Association's journey to have a delegated area in Parks Library.
I have breaking sports updates from ISU and Thursday Night Football. We'll also be checking in with an on-scene reporter at the men's basketball game tonight.
And winter has finally started to make an appearance out there. We're going to talk about some colder temperatures and some snow chances coming up. We'll have all the details on that and much more. Newswatch starts now.
Thanks for watching and have a good rest of your night and week. Stay classy, Cyclones. Thanks for tuning in on our last show this fall. I'm Annebeth Ahrenholz.
And I'm Paul Hadish. Here are tonight's stories. The Iowa State Police Department is investigating a possible threat that was posted to YikYak on Wednesday. The Yak read, "We're bringing OSU to ISU today," which was referring to the attacks that took place on the Ohio State campus earlier this week. Community Outreach Officer Anthony Greeter asked students to stay aware and vigilant and to contact the ISU PD if they see anything suspicious or concerning. Even though there is no evidence of the threat being carried out, the police department says that it is something to be taken very seriously.
Iowa State University's annual celebration of the seasons called Winterfest starts tomorrow, Friday, December 2nd. Students can experience the beauty of campus while supporting student organizations. All events during Winterfest will be held in the Memorial Union except for a select few. There will be food and drinks, cookie decorating, crafts, and many other festivities. There will also be recreational events taking place like snowball dodgeball in Bayer Hall and ice skating at the Ames Ice Arena. If you wish to stay in the MU, events will continue to be hosted there into the evening, including bingo, live music, and a hypnotist. All events are free and open to the public.
Football season has only just come to a close, but the athletics department here at Iowa State has already announced a big change to next season. Next fall, Cyclones will be sitting on the other side of Jack Trice Stadium as the team switch sidelines. According to an email from athletic director Jamie Pollard, head coach Matt Campbell requested the switch after experiencing what he says are significant competitive and operational issues during his inaugural season. Visiting fans, visiting bands, recruits, and guests of the football players will be affected by this change, but the Iowa State band and the student section will remain in the same location. The university will reach out to season ticket holders affected by the change and to go over relocation options.
There may soon be a new space for students to practice their religions in Parks Library. Andrea Safar and Aaron O'Neill have more.
Parks Library isn't just a labyrinth of literature, it's the main hub for students to meet and study. There's a coffee shop, computer labs, and some hidden study corridors. And now more than ever, one student group looks to implement a very new area to accommodate for an important aspect of their lives. Thousands of students from all over the world with different racial, ethnic, and religious backgrounds attend Iowa State every year. Parks Library can be a place of solidarity, where students feel productive and safe to grind away at reports and projects. There are many Muslim students at ISU who come to the library every day. Under the obligation of Islam, they are required to pray 5 times a day in a clean, peaceful environment. However, no specific spot exists for Muslims to fulfill this requirement. One Muslim student describes why this is challenging.
Not having the chance or the opportunity to perform our prayers in the place where we study it makes us uncomfortable with the place itself.
Can you show me an area that they usually pray?
Yeah, this area over here, this part, and also this whole area. Just because, as you can see, it's kind of isolated, so we come here. I mean, not in large groups, but some students come here, especially those who are usually studying in the 4th floor.
The lack of such a space has prompted some Muslim students to stay home. But one group on campus is working to change that.
There's a lot of challenges that we have. There's a lot of obstacles that we face just to make Muslims on campus feel more comfortable or just make their way of practice a bit easier. And not just even for our religion, for anybody's beliefs. To have something like a prayer room in the library is only really logical and rational because the amount of people that come here and study here and really spend most of their day here, having that available to them just makes their life easier here.
While no area has been designated yet, the Dean of Parks Library is currently meeting with Muslim students to get their takes on the prayer space, which the MSA hopes to have established by the start of the spring semester. For iState News with Aaron O'Neill, I'm Andreas Afar.
A basketball coach at a Des Moines high school was charged with operating while intoxicated on Sunday evening. 32-year-old Justin Ernson was pulled over on Hickman Road in Des Moines for a routine traffic stop. The officers administered a breathalyzer and found that the Lincoln High School boys basketball coach had a blood alcohol concentration level of 0.332. In the state of Iowa, it is illegal to operate a vehicle with a BAC of 0.08 or above. Officers said Ernson had bloodshot eyes, was unsteady on his feet, exhibits slurred speech, and needed assistance getting into the police car. He is scheduled to appear in court on the 5th, and this is his first year as a Lincoln head basketball coach.
Iowan actor Ashton Kutcher is best set to receive an award from Drake University. The Robert D. and Billy Ray Center at the university named Kutcher the recipient of the Robert D. Ray Pillar of Character Award for 2017. The award is given each spring to honor an influential Iowan who has demonstrated good character. The center said Ashton continues to be guided by his Iowa values and puts his character into action with efforts such as funding 132 Iowa school projects or helping Iowans after natural disasters. Past recipients of the award include Olympic gold medalist Shawn Johnson and even former Iowa State head men's basketball coach Fred Hoiberg. Kutcher will formally accept the award on April 8th at the Ray Center's All-Star Evening in West Des Moines.
Insomniac donut lovers rejoice. A 24/7 donut shop is set to open in West Des Moines. Hertz Donut Company will be opening up their location at 5 a.m. on Wednesday, December 7th in the West Glen Town Center. The first 100 customers will be put in a drawing to win free treats. One lucky customer could win a dozen donuts each week for a year. The shop will have more than 70 varieties of donuts and will also sell homemade cinnamon rolls and sausages wrapped in dough. Drinks include coffee and even a donut milkshake. The shop owners opened their first location in Coralville in October of 2015, and the prices will likely imitate their other shop. $1 for glazed donuts, $1.50 for a classic cake donut, and $2 for a specialty donut. When we come back, we will have more on the shooting in Baltimore.
And a story on the ISU parking division. You're watching Newswatch.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Getting a parking ticket is never fun, especially here on campus, but who are some of the people working for the ISU parking division? Aaron O'Neill has more.
Every student at Iowa State who owns a car and lives somewhere around campus is familiar with those little yellow envelopes that have probably been tucked under their windshield wiper at some point. Maybe their meter ran out, or maybe they just parked where they shouldn't have. Getting a ticket isn't fun. For most people, it's an occasional annoyance. For the students working at ISU's parking division, it's just another day in the job.
I'm in lot 56 with an Iowa plate, Edward Lincoln.
I rode along with one parking enforcer to get a perspective on a group of people that we all know, but rarely get to meet.
My name's Alex Forgy, and I'm a lead for the Iowa State Parking Division.
He shows me his route and tells me what it's like to work a job that doesn't typically get a lot of love.
So this lot here is Gen staff, and it runs from 7 a.m. to 5:30, and you can see all the permits are just straight Gen staff permits. They're up in their mirror. So I'll just run, look through basic stuff, see who has one, who doesn't.
Alex tells me in his time working here, he's dealt with anger on occasion, but most of the time, people are respectful.
I'd say some people are really, really nice about it. I try to be nice about it. I mean, they think we're out to get them, but really we're just doing our job. At first, everybody's kind of ticked off, you can tell, but you just kind of learn to let them get their frustration out.
Even with a bad experience once in a while, Alex says he likes the independence and fun of his job.
It's actually a pretty relaxing job. It's not intense. You're driving around most of the time, looking at vehicles. I really like just the fact that I can be on my own. I don't mind driving. I prefer to drive the trucks. I'm driving the C-Max today.
I also got a chance to talk to the division supervisor to see how the team's administration all worked.
Aaron Steffen. I'm in charge of enforcement for the university.
Aaron Steffen's worked in the division for 12 years. He's now in charge of parking across the entire university.
That includes citations written in the lots. That includes, we do some jump start stuff, tire assists, some of the help van duties.
Depending on the year, Aaron leads a team of up to 30 people, primarily ISU students, and they operate 9 different vehicles for ticketing and assistance. Last year, the department took in about $1.1 million in revenue.
Big portion of that is funding for the Orange Route. We give them a lot of money for that. A lot of it goes into new parking lots like the 112 Nora that just went up out by Freddie Court. Parking lot maintenance, snow removal. Snow removal can be a big one.
Aaron talked about the improvements he's seen in the force and what he'd like to see happen in the future.
Since I've been here, the changes have been, we went greener. We got a couple of C-Max hybrid vehicles, added a couple of walking routes, opening up pay lots earlier for people to park in for free, opening up areas of campus earlier for people to get in, go study, pay apps so people don't have to use change, a lot of things like that. I've seen a lot of new initiatives. What I would like to see is called license plate recognition. It's a software package that mounts to a vehicle that identifies license plates and links permits to them.
For now, make sure your permit stickers are on and your meters are fed. For ISU TV, I'm Aaron O'Neill.
Officers in Baltimore are asking witnesses to come forward to find the suspect in a shooting in front of a Northwest Baltimore store on Wednesday night. Baltimore police spokesman T.J. Smith told reporters at a news conference near the Stop One convenience store in the Windsor Hills neighborhood that a lone gunman fired on people at around 6 p.m. Smith said that 6 people were shot, 1 man was pronounced dead at the scene, while a second died at the hospital. It left 1 person critically wounded and 3 with non-life-threatening injuries, officials said. Detectives believe the shooting was in retaliation to a homicide in the area several days ago.
An armed man was taken into custody after a hostage situation connected to a bank robbery unfolded at a Jacksonville, Florida bank this morning. 11 hostages were rescued and none of them had been injured. Authorities say that the gunman took hostages inside the Community First Credit Union and released a couple people at first, but continued to threaten people inside the bank. The suspect put a gun to the back of the hostages' heads multiple times. At one point, 2 hostages tried to flee, which distracted the suspect, enabling SWAT team members to storm into the bank and to take the suspect into custody.
The CEO of coffee company Starbucks has stepped down, but already has a successor to take the company over. Howard Schultz is known for establishing more than 20,000 stores in 75 countries. He also made the company more vocal on issues such as gun violence, gay rights, race relations, veterans' rights, and student debt. He has decided to hand the company over to longtime friend Kevin Johnson, who is current president of the company and member of the board. Schultz was quoted saying that Johnson is better equipped at running the company. The handover will officially go into effect on April 3rd of next year.
Fighting between North and South Sudan has reached a devastating low point. The United Nations says that ethnic cleansing is now underway, with South Sudanese people reportedly massacred, starved, and raped. Al Jazeera reports the UN Commission on Human Rights traveled to the country witnessing what they claim to be a repeat of a situation in Rwanda back in 1994. Meanwhile, South Sudan's president, Salva Kiir, has come out and denied these allegations. The 3-year conflict has killed thousands of people and has no signs of ending soon.
The first recount of votes in a presidential election in Wisconsin in the last 16 years of a presidential election has begun. This recount began due to the request of the Green Party candidate Jill Stein. Stein wanted a recount due to the fact that Trump won over less than a percentage over Hillary. Stein is worried that some of the voting machines in Wisconsin and other states could have been hacked or manipulated since Hillary was predicted a victory during the long polls. Stein says the only way we can confirm that all votes were all counted correctly is to recount. The election officials in Wisconsin have less than 2 weeks to complete this recount, but nobody is expecting this recount to change the results of the presidential election.
A son of one of the founders of Cirque du Soleil died during an on-set accident while setting up for the performance Cuiza in San Francisco. Oliver Rocher was a technician and was the son of Gilles Descraques, who was one of the founders of the world-famous circus. Rocher was hit by a telescopic lift while on set while practicing an hour before the show began. He died at a nearby hospital, and no foul play is suspected, but the death is being investigated by local police.
Don't go away. After the break, we've got Josh Lamberty here at the desk with the latest on your favorite sports.
We have more Newswatch for you after this.
When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. He said,
Tune into the midweek roundup with me, your host Michael Morrell.
I'm Jacob Lee.
We are going to talk about all sorts of things like baseball, or even debate the fact that the Vikings are going to finish third in the NFC North this year.
They're going to win the North again this year.
Tim Weeman, host of the Sound of the Storm.
Connor Ferguson.
Hunter Smith.
Talk about all college sports and NFL, MLB, and our Storm is definitely brewing.
I'm Blake Akery, and I'm the host of Sports View.
And I'm TJ Reed.
We talk college basketball and NBA.
And all things Iowa State.
Tim Weeman.
Patrick Stanek.
Hank Zimmerman.
Tune into the weekend pregame as we warm up the sports weekend ahead, including many segments with Pick'ems and Tim's Trivia.
I'm Taylor Menkel.
I'm Mary Rominger.
I'm Andrea Safar.
And I'm Joey Mullins.
And we talk a lot of different sports here, including
NHL and cyclone hockey,
world football, American football,
basketball, and many other segments. Make sure to step into the Clone Zone.
I'm Michael Mainzer.
I'm Mary Rominger.
I'm Dylan Ryan.
And I'm Zach Williamson.
And this is Cyclone Talk. Listen in for live interviews and analysis from these guys.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Josh Lamberty with your Cyclones Sports Report. The Cyclones lost in a close battle to the Purdue Boilermakers in the first round of the NCAA volleyball tournament in Columbia, Missouri. The first set was almost in favor of the Cyclones until the Boilermakers were able to pull ahead on an error by Morgan Kurt, Purdue winning the first set 26-24. The second set was no different as both teams had a back and forth, the set being close until errors by the Cyclones put Purdue up 2-0 in the match. Purdue was able to put down a dominant third set, moving on to the second round of the tournament 25-13. This is the 11th straight NCAA tournament appearance for head coach Christy Johnson Lynch. The Cyclone wrestling team was topped by the Cowboys from Wyoming on Sunday. The Cyclones went 5-5 on the day of their match, but 2 bonus point decisions gave Wyoming the edge in this contest, winning 19-15. Iowa State redshirt senior Carson Powell picked up his first dual victory since 2013, with 2 takedowns and an escape in the duel. ISU redshirt freshman Marcus Simmons also made his first appearance as a Cyclone. With a pair of takedowns and a reversal, Simmons took home his first victory. The Cyclones are in action again this weekend as they head to Las Vegas for the 2016 Cliff Keen Las Vegas Invitational. Major League Baseball reached a new tentative collective bargaining agreement with players and owners yesterday. The new CBA, if signed by players and owner representatives, will take effect through the 2021 season. One of the major changes with the new agreement impacts home field advantage for the World Series. Currently, the winner of the All-Star Game in July determines which league receives home field advantage for the World Series. The new agreement, when signed, will give the pennant winner with the best record home field advantage for the Fall Classic. Major League Baseball will officially release the specifics of the deal after it has been ratified by player and owner representatives. There's a great matchup tonight on Thursday Night Football, televised on NBC and NFL Network. The 6-5 Minnesota Vikings are hosting the red-hot Dak Prescott and the 10-1 Dallas Cowboys. Prescott looks to build off his performance last week against the Redskins, throwing for 195 yards, rushing for 39 more, and 2 touchdowns, one through the air and another on the ground. Meanwhile, the Vikings are looking to keep their playoff hopes alive after yet another late fourth-quarter comeback led by Matthew Stafford and the Lions last Thursday. The Cowboys currently lead 7-3 with 5 minutes left to go in the second quarter. The 5-1 men's basketball team has started their season hot, winning the first 4 games with a narrow loss to Gonzaga on Sunday. The Cyclones are in action tonight at Hilton Coliseum against the 5-1 Cincinnati Bearcats. Tonight's game tipped off at 8 p.m. and is being broadcasted live on Cyclones.tv. After tonight's contest with the Bearcats, the Cyclones take on the Mavericks from the University of Nebraska-Omaha on Monday at home in Hilton Coliseum. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. and televised on Cyclones.tv. That's all I have for your Cyclone Sports Report tonight. Before we head into the break and come back for weather, we have a live update from Hawn Wong at the men's basketball game. Hawn?
Thank you for that, Josh. And as you can hear, it is a packed crowd here at Hilton tonight as the Cyclones are set to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats, and we're deep in the first half here. If you remember last year, the Bearcats are playing this game as a little bit of a revenge game as a late Abdel Nader 3 sealed the game for the Cyclones last year. But for this year, don't worry, Coach Prohm has Solomon Young back in the lineup to shoulder some of the load of Deontay Burton, who had a career-high 29 points in their last game against Gonzaga in the Advocare Invitational. We are 4 minutes left in the half here as Iowa State is up 18-15 on the Bearcats. Make sure to follow ICTV for more reports on the game. That's it here in Hilton.
And welcome back to Newswatch. Zane Satre here with your forecast. You can see these are our highs we had today. Pretty much everybody was sitting in the mid to upper 30s out there. Right now, we've finally fallen down a little bit. Right, we're sitting at 35 degrees outside here in Ames under overcast skies and the winds out of the west at 8 miles per hour out there. So it's kind of a cool, dreary day out there at the moment. If you look at our current conditions across the state, we're sitting pretty much similar to our highs are at. We haven't really fallen off too much. That's because pretty much everywhere is cloudy. 34 up in Mason City, 34 in Fort Dodge, and 35 in Ames at this hour. So kind of a dreary day out there. That's due to all these clouds. As you can see on our cloud and radar right now, as we loop through the afternoon going into this evening, those clouds have kind of hung with us the entire day, and they're going to hang with us for the next couple of days, so there's not going to be much change. If we zoom this thing out, you can see that there's really pretty quiet weather across much of the country. Down south where they had those tornadoes, that's all finally moved offshore, and they finally have some quiet weather, especially down there where they are also having those wildfires in the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina. The only real action is up here in the Northeast in the Great Lakes, where this big upper level low is spinning around and then causing some lake effect snow action off of Lake Ontario and Lake Erie and Lake Huron up there. So they're going to get some decent amount of snow as they go through today and tomorrow. As we go through today and tomorrow, it's going to be pretty cloudy. As we set this thing in motion here, you're just going to watch the clouds kind of spin along flowing out of the northwest as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning, and then through tomorrow, the clouds are going to continue to go along. By the time we get to tomorrow night, however, those are finally going to break up overnight. We'll cool off a little bit over Friday night into Saturday, and then Saturday will be a little bit warmer and clearer skies. So lows tonight, not going to sink too much further than where we're at right now. 30 in Marshalltown, 32 in Des Moines, and 31 down in Ottumwa. Most areas will get down around the freezing mark or so. As we get into tomorrow, highs are not really going to move up very much, but a little bit warmer than today. 36 in Waterloo, 37 in Marshalltown, 40 in Des Moines. Areas to the south might get a little bit warmer than that if those clouds break a little bit earlier than we think right now. You get into Saturday, we're going to warm up just a little bit due to those clear skies for the start of the weekend. 42 in Des Moines and 39 in Fort Dodge. But other than that, kind of a pretty dreary start to your December out there. So tonight here in Ames, low of 31, overcast. As we get up tomorrow, a little bit of frost will be out there. We'll dip down below freezing, and then winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. And then tomorrow we'll move up into a high of 38. Stays cloudy for most of the day until we get into the evening hours, and then light winds again out of the northwest from 5 to 10. As we look into the extended outlook here, Saturday, there's that high of 39. The cool, though, on that night before Friday night into Saturday. Our next chance of snow comes on Sunday, as we have a little bit of a system moving out of the northwest, interacting with some moisture coming from the southwest. Monday, 44. Our big chance of snow maybe comes along next Tuesday, high of 37. And then it starts to get chilly midweek. 28 on Wednesday and just a high of 20 next Thursday. Stay with us. We're going to have much more of Newswatch coming up.
Canadians are known for being very polite and apologetic. However, depending on your music taste, they're supposedly introducing a punishment for breaking the law that you might find downright brutal. According to a Facebook post, the Kensington Police Service of Prince Edward Island stated that they are punishing drunk drivers by making them listen to Nickelback. The post said, "When we catch you, and we will catch you, on top of a hefty fine, a criminal charge, and a year's driving suspension, we will also provide you with a bonus gift of playing the office's copy of Nickelback in the cruiser on the way to jail." It's too bad our own Garrett Kroger, aka Chad, isn't here to comment on this.
2 psychologists have recently suggested that lying to children about the existence of Santa Claus could be harmful. It could potentially undermine their trust in parents, as a result, leaving them open to abject disappointment. Clinical psychologist Kathy McKay asked the question, the Santa Claus myth is such an involved lie, such a long-lasting one between parents and children, that if relationships are vulnerable, this may be the final straw. If parents can lie so convincingly and over such a long time, what else can they lie about? McKay stresses that the potential damaging effects of the Santa Claus myth might be something to think about this Christmas season.
A 2-month-old baby black rhino has been the talk of the Blank Park Zoo lately in Des Moines. The zoo is asking the community for help to name the rhino, and you can submit a name to the Blank Park Zoo website for a $50 donation. At the end of the month, the top names will be chosen and then put into an online vote. And there are only around 800 eastern black rhinos in the wild right now, and only 60 in captivity. The zoo has already said that they will not be considering the name Rhino McRhinoface. And it looks like that does it for tonight. On behalf of all of us here at ISU TV, thank you for tuning in with us through the semester.
We hope you'll come back when we resume for the spring semester. Do stay tuned after this for the last Ames Tonight at 9 p.m.
We wish you well during Dead Week and Finals Week and hope you have a great winter break. Go Cyclones!